All right, have my little meditation candle right here. Namaste. I'm getting this message. It's a personal message, and let me say what it is. To be wise is to take your time. Like, there's no rush for anything. Just let it be received. And from receiving, you'll know kind of where it flows next. Or if it flows anywhere at all. It does flow, but does it flow, kind of like the undercurrent, a little whirlpool, or does it flow out, right? Where does it go? But take a step back, allow it to just kind of happen, and everything's going to be fine, right? And I'm not that kind of person. Normally, I like to get things done, right? If I have an idea, I just want to go ahead and go for it, and then figure it out along the way. Never mind the questions, never mind the risk. Let's just do it, let's figure it out, right? So this is a little bit different than the way that I normally like to operate. And I know that's pretty different than the way that I say I've kind of, it's not nothingness. I guess it is meditation, but nothingness in the sense of the absence of everything here, the absence of time, the absence of energy, the absence of urgency, the absence of what is. It's just the absence of what is in the way that it is defined into what it is without definition. So I guess it's like two parts of me, right? The side of me that will just do that for hours at a time, and then the side of me that is of this more conditioned environment, but also my personality of just an excitable, hyper personality, right? So I guess basically what they're saying is to kind of go within, go to that part, go to the meditative part of me, and that there doesn't necessarily have to be that balance that I'm trying to achieve of hearing something and then getting it across. It's more forceful, right? It's like I'm trying to direct it rather than letting it direct me. Which sounds alarming, but it's from the light, so it's not. But it could potentially be very alarming. I think that's also where the possibility of issues could occur. Not just with this, but with any of these instances where you can slip up because your awareness starts to kilter a bit. So it's very important for me to just listen. And I do feel that what I said in my last video and this and subsequent videos is a channeled message. I don't know if I said that in that last video, but it's a channeled message for someone or several, where this is just the method of which it's supposed to reach you rather than that specified channeled message. So there's a dream that occurred, okay? That powerful dream. And I want to talk to you about what it feels to me. And it's several parts. So I want to talk about the dream, and then I want to talk about your energy and who you are in terms of what is being shown to me. So when I talked about my past life, well, past lives, when I go back and I observe just some of the highlights of significant past lives, they're all fairly ordinary, right? I'm not, and by ordinary, what I mean is I'm not some, like, anything beyond just the average citizen of wherever I am. Granted, I think there's an overarching theme of suppression, and obviously we're coming into a time now where the feminine opinion, voice, decisions, everything, the divine feminine and the female herself has much more liberties than she has had before. And even with, occupational and location, right? And how that kind of is incorporated into everything when it comes to the soul's path. So that's very important when it comes to you, because you are in this incarnation liberated. You are liberated to the degree of which you have the blessing to decide a major path with regards to your evolution, like your soul's evolution. Meaning, a lot of people don't have the awareness of self. They're not self-actualized. They don't have a desire to be self-actualized, or there's just a lot getting in the way. And there are a lot of people that's their particular path. And there are a lot of people who are open to this idea of it, but aren't necessarily supposed to be pursuing that. They're supposed to be content, find contentment in having a limited range of their destiny. Obviously, to a bigger degree, divine timing, destiny, fate is at play to a major point, right? But there are particular individuals who have a wider range within their lifetime of basically how much you want to heal, and if you want to heal, how much you want to know, and if you want to know, those kinds of things. And it's within the control of gaining wisdom versus like with wisdom has the substance of the soul intertwined with the knowledge, right? Knowledge itself, so just kind of poisoning it with ego will deter you, but will not awaken you, and not enlighten you, but make you aware. So it's the awareness versus the enlightenment, and that delicate balance between that. So there's also those people that I said where there's that range. Are you doing things that are bringing you knowledge, but are pulling you further from enlightenment? And that self-awareness and actualization in the center, kind of like the cord that determines where you're at, right? So you're very blessed in that sense in this life of having the ability to kind of determine on that path of how much of, like, it's just like changing the course of I just see this huge shift. That's what it's showing me, a huge shift. So it's not, so they're explaining it like this. Okay, so they're talking about like, okay, so let's just follow my train of thought, okay? So when I talk about my past lives, and it's fairly ordinary. When I look at it from like a human perspective and I get caught up in the emotions, it's a feeling of awareness that I feel of beyond, but a lack of control of how I'm living my life. And I can associate it to how I lived when I was younger, before I really stepped into this, when I was meant to step into this, of where I knew everything happening, and yet my faculties kind of just drove me to my karma. It drove me through it, you know? And that's how I'm seeing you, okay? Okay, so let me just focus on me really quick so we get not confused too much, okay? So when I look at it, it's like that, right? Now, when I look at it from a higher perspective, I don't feel that I've had many incarnations on Earth, or even in like this, like not parallel, but like close, like the universe is surrounding Earth that I've talked about. I don't feel I've had many incarnations here. In terms of like the age of creation of the universe, right? It doesn't feel like as many human lives have cycled through the beginning of this time that I have been here that many times that is possible. It doesn't feel like it's my role, right? And so why was I here? What am I learning from in those experiences? What was I doing? What am I doing, right? And what I feel for me is this feeling of empathy and understanding. I have to live the human experience to those degrees to understand and empathize with people, so that even if I don't live that life in this incarnation, I have that memory of that experience, a personal experience, because I couldn't relate to it from a different perspective in the way that I could relate to it if I lived it myself. That's not to say that we aren't all gathering that within us, because the way that I see the souls is like, if we look at it as a human body, and we're all parts within the system of the body. So that's kind of comparing in some ways the arm to the leg, right? I may be the arm, this kind of area is the leg, and so it's both necessary for driving the entire body, right? So it's not like, because we have so many different opportunities and abilities and just, I mean, the world is amazing, right? Like, it's actually very amazing. I know it is very chaotic, destructive, crunchy in a lot of ways, but it's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. But that doesn't make that any better than coming from somewhere else where I feel I've come from, that maybe doesn't exhibit quite the same techniques of how life operates in all the different ways that it may operate beyond even just Earth, right? So that's me. To distinguish between, I think it's also to help you process how I'm processing, so how I'm looking at it, so that you can see it for yourself on you. Because the way that I feel your energy is bouncing, like a bouncy ball, a very light, playful, bubbly soul. spirit, soul, spirit. It's like both, but I want to say both because spirit is like soul to me is what is, but then the spirit is like the spirit within the soul, which is the same, but then there's that, it's kind of like the personality. And so I wanted to distinguish that because even spirit, the sound of it sounds light, like a butterfly. It's just like the spirit. Like you seem very playful. There's actually a song that I'm channeling that I'm going to put down below. It's Hey Portia. And it's the essence of the song where it's just like, I'm here to have fun. I'm here to party, have a good time, and like see life as it is, like in this light way, right? So I feel like at your core, okay, so if you look at it from a human perspective, from a singular perspective, and you look around, you could identify yourself with your traumas. You could identify yourself with the roadblocks or whatever is happening in life. Because I do want to distinguish, there is a particular person I feel in your life that is coming through that is trying to interfere. So if you listen to the other video I had where I was talking about how there's someone who's doing some sort of like seance or some sort of like witchcraft or something like that, sacrificial thing, I don't know, they're doing something, then this is definitely on par with you, okay? But it's this feeling of like, the way you are is like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, why are people so annoyed with me or like fixated on me or angry with me? And I can even kind of connect it or associate it with like America. America, love it. We have freedom of religion, right? We have freedom of speech. We are free. That is what we have fought for, right? And it's amazing. I love it, right? And so it's kind of like these people who are trying to put restrictions on you where it's like, I have a right to believe what I want to believe. I have a right to say my opinion. Like, what is going on here? It's kind of that thing where it's like two different worlds, two different technique, two different perspectives, where one is like, it'd be like if it's, I don't know, China or whoever, like someone who doesn't have the same rights, criticizing it because it's two different cultures, right? But then you have the awareness of saying, well, you're a different culture. Like you're trying to kind of, it's like, I understand you. What is the issue here? Just like back off, leave me be then, you know, like I don't get it. Just get out of here then, kind of thing. But it does get to you. It feels like it does get to you in some way. Not what they're doing, but I mean, it is in some ways because it's their energy, but we're going to get into that in a minute, but I kind of derailed on that. So anyway, I see this bouncing energy of you bouncing in and out of lifetimes here to just kind of play. So overall, when I see it from that other perspective, like how I was saying with me, where I'm here to understand from like to be human, to understand human, or like these areas, right? I'm just using Earth as an example because that's what we've been talking about. But for you, it's to play. It's very playful, but that's part of your mission, is to infuse these areas with this playful, light, not so serious energy. It's just like someone who, if something goes wrong energetically, what's really whether you identify this personally or not, your higher self, your essence of who you are, does not take it seriously. And even when you have repeatedly crossed over and come back, it's this feeling of, oh man, like that, like, oh geez, what is going on, you know, that's crazy, you know, in like a playful way. And then being like, all right, let's go. Like it's, you're enjoying it, right? You're enjoying kind of that the liberties of this kind of area, right? It's like America is a representation in some ways of like Earth and these areas where it's that infusion of free will, and so you're that light energy that comes in, right? That's that inspirational thing, because with that, right, with the lack of control, I guess, in some ways, like you can see how it can kind of go awry, right? But you can see how it can also be very, very beautiful and cooperative, and cooperative in the sense of like acceptance of all kinds of different things, that kind of thing. So that's, you're like the good American. That's what you're the good American type of spirit. And that's your purpose, overall purpose of kind of bouncing in and out, in and out, in and out. Okay? So, I'll talk about the dream first, and if I slip up and forget about the person, it's because like they literally don't even matter, so whatever. I drew a circle here because I want to tell you about how the dream feels, okay? Like how it's kind of like, it's what happened. I don't know, so I guess I better not say I don't know, but it's just what happened, okay? Hold on 1 second. Okay. I'm just kidding. Okay. Just kidding, but I did it. Okay. So, circle. All right. So, I feel, okay, we have our little circle here, right? So you're going to be the red marker. So here is the start and also the finish. And so what I feel is you're going the circumference of the circle, right? And you're being guided by your guardian angels, archangels, very powerful. Like when I say light beings, it's like these feminine powerhouses, like feminine, I don't know, like it would be like Mother Mary, and like strong, distinct women or females, like feminine energy, that, and archangels, and they're kind of like sheathing around these like grasses, okay? It's like around, this is like beyond hair and grass, inside is like just dense stuff, okay? But on either side there would be like grasses, so you're like sheathing the grasses for you to get through, and it's not like perfect, and it's not meant to be. They're just getting like the majority of it out of the way, and then it's up to you to kind of clear it a little bit yourself, right? And you also have to walk the path yourself. You have to do that, right? And so it's this delicate balance between your heart, and your heart is driving your productivity, in the sense that it's your creative passions, it's what draws you to like movement. That's what moves you. That's your driving force, is your passion, whatever like your heart drives you to. And then your intellect is like your intuition, and that's what guides you towards like major choices, major life choices, right? So it's like your heart kind of brings you to the area, and then your intuition determines that yes or no once you're there. Is that making sense? So, and then it also kind of drives, like, it's just like the major decisions in life is what's intuitively is your operation, mode of operation, okay? And so what does that do is it causes you to continue to walk the path. It doesn't have you veer off too much to any other side, right? Intuition will drive you too much. Your heart will drive you too much. And so that delicate balance in between there is what's causing you to go the circumference, right? And in doing this, there is that theme, overarching theme that we talked about, where it's destiny. It's destiny that's causing you to go there. That's your destiny to go around the circumference. And it's that understanding, and it's that flow, right? We talked about like the flow, receptivity, and that wisdom of taking your time and not feeling rushed, allowing yourself to not feel rushed. That will, it's like the archangels are going at the pace of destiny. So if you feel rushed, you can't really get any further. It's just going to exhaust you, because you need the angels to sheath the grass, right? So if you take it at the proper pace, the pace that feels right within you, that's guiding you, your guiding force, that will help you kind of determine your pace. And in determining your pace, we talked about that range that you have the ability to do. So that sets your pace. You can kind of mosey around if you feel like it, and you can kind of pick up the pace if you want to. Either way, it's still driving you there, right? There's another song, they're interrupting, they're saying to put this song down. It's more about the lyrics than it is the energy of the song. It's something about the lyrics. It's divine. So there's something in the song that's supposed to be important here. Give me a second, because I'm just gonna like space out, and it might, I don't know how long it's gonna take me, so just one. Okay, because there's some sort of pep talk I'm hearing that they're interrupting me about, where in essence it's this message of self-aware, or like it's self-love, but being self-aware. What's the word? Let me just try and just talk it out. So it's like there's no need for you to, I'm seeing a lot of blues being highlighted. I have a marker here that I'm using. So there's a lot of blues here. But it's this feeling, it went out. It's this feeling of like you don't have to be so worried or so concerned about the pace of things, and also about maybe people's perspectives. And it feels like naturally you're not really like that, but maybe it's this conditioning that has kind of caused you to focus on that validation, which we all need validation to varying degrees in our life, right? To kind of help us kind of monitor our progress, I guess, in life in some ways, or something like that. I don't know. Like it feels like it's what you feel is very normal, but you're at a place in your life right now where the challenge has switched to saying you don't need that anymore. You shouldn't. Okay, this is a specific message. So some of you this may not resonate with, but if all of this has been resonating, then this is for you. This is for you, that you should not seek external validation anymore. You're not at that place anymore to desire it or to need it. And they're saying, like, take a look around. Take a look around. Why or where will you get the intensity of validation that is required for the intensity of your spirit in this world. You will not get that. So it's that going within that closes the gap, closes the perception of that center circle, right? To make it whole, like the toroidal, it looks like when you get closer, it looks like a circle. The more you go within, the tighter it gets, the less it appears. You need to collapse. So when you go to the other videos, you need to collapse that donut. Don't make it bigger to allow other opinions, other validations, other ideas to go and widen it, because you will always be seeking elsewhere. It'll cause you to seek elsewhere instead of self-seeking. Go within and it'll close it up to collapse it, to make it whole. It'll make it whole. That's what it'll look like first. It'll look whole, and then it'll collapse into one with source. And they're saying, you know, it is no comparison to other people, you know, and or a critique on other people, because that is the normal process of the spirit. That is the normal process of the soul inhabiting the body. And there are people that are not supposed to even achieve that, right? They don't achieve that type of collapsing into source, because it's not their purpose. It's not their journey. Just like my journey here is not the same as your journey here. Some people have lived many, many, many incarnations here, and they belong in a lot of ways here because they're the leg and you are the arm, and I don't know, the neck. I'm losing body parts, even though there's a lot, but I'm using major body parts. So anyway, you get what I'm saying? So, pshaw, let them be, yo. I don't know why I just did that. Someone out there is blocking me. Okay, moving on. That's like the side message here where they're like, hey, hello, what do you, get it together, what are you doing? It's fine. Like, you don't look at the ways that you might be slipping up. And then they're showing me me, and how I like slipped up for a second with the Titan, where I believed someone else above my own, which all I talked about was like the bias and everything. And if I were to listen, then I would all of this. But if I had been more like extra confident, I guess, in myself, or I don't know, like, it's that word I'm looking for, but if I was like that, more confident, I guess, then maybe I would have picked it up right then too and be like, whoa, this is the moment they're picking up on someone who's crossed over, you know, like, because I know. But I had already, I mean, that's kind of like mixing details, because in the past, when it was going on, like I said, I mean, I felt I had too much information by looking it up. It was not blind reading, or like even just kind of knowing. I felt I knew too much, so I wasn't sure if I could discern between what's imagination and what's being told to me. So it's a little mix of that, but you get the general gist of what I'm saying, right? I know you do. Okay, so this dream that I'm talking about, where it's like the circles, this is something that's like that actually happened. So I'm telling you like in a symbolic way of what happened in your dream, of something that's like spiritually just happened. I almost poked myself in the eye, I think. Okay, so we talked about you're going around the circle, okay? Now, I'm gonna see. So I drew it backwards in my head, but that's fine. Where are you going? No. they're saying to stop right here, but I think you went a little further, but they're saying to stop right here. So this is kind of where you're at. Now, there's someone, it feels like someone to me. I want to wager that it's a someone, but it could very well be something. If it's something, then it would be like heavenly guided. Heavily and heavenly guided. Because irregardless, it's destiny. Okay? Like, irregardless, this is a very, 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 very like high vibrational interaction, connection, reconnection. And how that is incorporated in here, it's going to change this next part of your life. It has, it is, and it will. But it's going to, it's like your reality completely shifts. But in that, it brings me back to your purpose here, which is to shift reality in this light, playful sense. So your presence alone, your perspective on life, and just the way that you live in life alone is shifting humanity and beyond of a higher frequency. That's your nature. That's who you are. That is your purpose. So you have such a limited range in truth. So we're kind of mixing everything together. But as a human being, right, the short life and the short ability, the small abilities of which you can actually do, which are very significant on a smaller level, like a more focused level, but overall is very small. So it's a buildup, right? You have to do an accumulation of these things plus the collective to accumulate those things, right? And so in doing so, it is kind of small. So, but the point that I'm saying is your negative influence necessarily. So it's like, kind of like, just like, kind of this, it's a refusal. It's like a refusal of acceptance. It's like, accept you fully, accept yourself fully, understand yourself fully so you can accept yourself fully. Like, find anywhere and be accountable anywhere that you are letting other people's opinions or actions or lack of validation or lack of understanding, because they have to understand you to validate you, and they also have to not have some sort of like dark energy on their own, like jealousy, envy, whatever kind of stuff to validate you. Then they have their own lives going on, so they might not even, like, there's so many different things. So find where you are not accepting yourself and loving yourself. I think that's mostly what it is, a self-acceptance, and remove it completely. Where are you jeopardizing yourself in any minute fraction of a place, right? Like, a small example would be if you told yourself that you were going to like clean up your desk, and you clean it up, but you leave an empty water bottle on it, and it's like, oh, it's just empty water bottle, like, it's, but I did clean it up. No, you didn't clean that water bottle up. So psychologically, you are compromising yourself and your self-respect or your self-acceptance, because you know you didn't do what you promised yourself to do. So hold yourself accountable for taking care of yourself, right? And that's part of taking care of yourself, is standing up for yourself and deciding that what you know is good for you, you will continue to do, and you will do it in its entirety. There is no little bit of compromise. You have to go full force into it. You can't do little bit. It has to be 100% committed to that, to you, to that. That is you. You have to be committed to you in every sense of the word. Okay? So what's going on here with your little circle, right? So this is you going around it, your guides and everyone and these higher beings doing that, right? You can look at that in some ways if you wanted to, which I think you have had the tendency in some ways to think this, but it's not, I don't think you have hangups on it, because I think you see this overall thing. Everything I'm saying you already know. You already know this, right? So it's like, yeah, okay, for real. Yeah, I knew that, right? So this thing is basically, you can look at it like, this is a long road. I'm going kind of like the difficult path. I'm choosing to do like a longer path, a more difficult, a more ascended path, you know, but that's my choice. And it would be so much easier if I got to the finish by going the diameter. If I just go around instead of going the whole way, I mean, you're already halfway. You might as well just go the other half. But, you know, you could have started and cut through. But what's going on here is it's more dense. It's really, 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 really dense. So the energy that you would have to penetrate to get to the other side is going to be a whole nother level of difficulty. So it's two different perspectives of difficulty, but they're both difficult. What's at the center of your universe, the center of your circle, is that thing, is that destiny, is that destined thing. Again, I feel like it's an individual. However, it could be just this like soulful driven, like divinely driven purpose. However, this individual and you together, if it were an individual, is a driven purpose anyway. It's because again, it's life changing in the terms of not just your life, but just you set off a supernova within the frequency of this earth and beyond. It's like aliens and other places will be like, that's my baby, they're doing it, you know, like they'll see it, they'll feel it, they'll see it radiating, like they'll know. Okay, so this individual is going the radius. They're going the radius. And so from their perspective, they can look at the way that you're doing things and be like, they're doing everything like a difficult, they're going a difficult path, right? Because in the ways that you may lack that awareness in those moments of weakness or moments of distraction, we'll say, where you can compare and say, oh, they have it easy, they're going the shorter path. They're looking at you and doing the same thing, right? It's that equal reflection, but two different paths, two different perspectives, two opposites, but completely the same. So they're going the same level of difficulty, but they're choosing a different path to reach you. And you're going the same to reach the finish, honestly, but the finish is to you. So anyway, basically what they did in the dream, what you guys did in the dream is you've successfully intersected. You've made it to that next point. What's happening now since that dream is it's a speed up. The energy has sped up. It's speeding up, speeding up, speeding up, speeding up. And it's creating some super, super, super fast movement, like crazy fast movement where it's encircling the circle. Both of your energies have now collided and are spinning very, very fast. You've passed the finish line, which is no longer a finish line anymore. It's like this was the creation of, it's like the beginning. This is like the beginning of, like form. So if we go from energy to form, physical form, like we're talking about, this is like how it begins. And then this is how it starts to create physical form. It becomes something. So that's what's going on here. You're in the developmental stage and now it's doing this. And that happened when you were dreaming, that's what happened. That's finally what happened. Somewhere in some astral place, like that's what's going on. That's what happened. And it's going to reflect, it's supposed to reflect in this lifetime, right? So just as we talked about, it starts from up there and comes down. It's coming down. It's the same way it comes down like that, right? Because when I say like everything's everything, that's literally like you can see it represented in every little thing that exists, right? Oh, and so when we talk about that person that I feel is like they're trying to sabotage this, right? And the way it can never be sabotaged, they can never actually do that, right? It would have to be under your own volition. What am I trying to say? Volition. Your own free will that you choose to let it get to you. So you kind of being concerned with these low vibrational things, these worldly, earthly, you know, things, thoughts, feelings, you know, human things, then the more that it can, I don't know, it kind of like, it's not, they're not going to be able to do anything. You're just too powerful for that. But it's like, just the thought of it, I guess, it kind of like, it's like a very small wasted energy. Very small, but you can't tell. You can't really tell, but it's just better not to. It's better to be as purified as possible. Because that's the most important. It's like, it's not, what they're doing is not important. What's really important is you to focus on yourself. And it just makes you much more powerful, like impactful kind of thing. Because they're showing me how it can be, what's I gonna say about them? Something else about them. Let me say this first and maybe it'll come back to me. Because they're showing me how this can be represented in the body. So their resistance to you is because it's kind of like this foreign, seemingly foreign substance within the body, where even though it's part of the body, it's like these other parts of it are unfamiliar. It's kind of like if you because I think this is a better representation. So like, let's say I had an injury and I'm just gonna have to make it up, okay? So sorry, it's not medically probably proper. I have an injury right here on my shoulder, and your soul, your spirit, is the healed skin graft that is supposed to go on here. That's what you are. You're healing this part of me. And so you are being introduced by divine itself. The divine is the surgeon, master surgeon, and is putting you onto this injury. Now, the surrounding are aware on some level, because the body is aware that that is supposed to help. But from that kind of human lower form, like the body is going to try and attack it, right? It's like, come on now, like, do not reject that skin graft. Take it on. So that's kind of like that same energy of them, where they're attacking it because it's unfamiliar, right? It's not, they don't understand. They're just kind of operating from their natural state. And so what you're doing is going to end up healing them, because their surrounding is, they're actually being attacked themselves, right? They're having to put so much energy into like surviving and not, you know, getting eaten away, basically. I don't know what kind of disease, gangrene or something. I don't know, but it's like going to them. It's attacking them, and they're having to put all their energy forth to survive. But they're trying to attack you, right? So that is kind of like that kind of feeling. Yeah. I mean, I pretty much said everything I needed to say for this video. Sorry about the cringe. It's just, I don't know what came over me. It's not like me.